Welcome to Group Dates and Hot Takes. I'm Sampy.
I'm Christy.
Let's talk about The Bachelorette. Ah, Christy. Home sweet home. We're back from the road for episode 5 of season 19. And let me say, do we have some stuff to talk about? Even though, kind of boring episode, in my opinion. Sorry for the spoilers, everybody. Christy, you brought something to my attention this morning about someone on the show. Would you like to talk to us about this?
Well, Reality Steve had been teasing he had a story coming, and so today he dropped one about Nate, who is on Gabby's team.
Yes, the guy who looks like Michael B. Jordan, probably the most attractive of all of the people there this season, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's one of the better looking ones. But it turns out there's a whole lot of details that he dropped with it, but a summary is kind of that Nate dated this girl named Kelsey for a year and a half and never told her he had a daughter.
Yes, allegedly, she found out when we found out.
Yes, watching the episode on TV.
watching The Bachelorette on ABC.
and on top of that, he was also dating this other girl, I forget her name, like during that year and a half for like a few months.
Mm-hmm. So a little bit of two timing, I guess. And perhaps, I don't know, maybe that's just our reality in 2022. You really just have to very specifically say that you're exclusive. Otherwise, the other person's just going to be sleeping around. I hope that's not the reality we live in. But it seems like, at least, and look, I was just gonna say something mean about how the Bachelor franchise just gets the top tier of people, but
well, it speaks for itself.
Here we are.
Also,
he was also married before. Is that?
Yes, and Kelsey didn't know that either.
But also apparently, the divorce wasn't finalized until well into when he was dating at least one of them, I guess.
Yeah, it seemed like the first photo, at least, Kelsey had with them was in January of 2021, and divorce was finalized December of 2020. So very close together.
I thought that it had said that the divorce was finalized in 2020, and she started dating him in January of 2020. That's what I thought the photo said. But
maybe
it's incredibly messy.
Yeah, you should go to Reality Steve's website to see. There's a ton of photos and texts, like showing like the whole timeline of everything.
I mean, just a complete disaster. Yeah, it is such a messy situation. Do you think that this has the potential to be a Matt James and Rachel type situation?
I think that depends on how far Nate gets. I don't know if he wins or if he gets eliminated or anything. So,
I mean, at this point, he seems like he has some staying power. She seems to really like him a lot.
Yeah.
Like, so much that she keeps going to have one-on-one conversations with him and make out with him, like, repeatedly through the episodes. So, yeah, this could have some impact.
Yeah, let's hope he doesn't win then, because otherwise, what a mess that would be after the season.
I mean, at this point, I wouldn't rule him out as being at least top 2 for her at the end. Top 3.
Yeah, could happen.
They seem to have such a great connection. I feel like the positive of this for Jesse is that it isn't race-based, and so so I don't think there's as much potential for Chris Harrison level fallout on this. But yeah, it definitely could have some impact later on. I guess post season, that would be real miserable to get to after the final rose with them as a couple and have that be the the theme of that.
It's just weird. I don't understand why you wouldn't tell the person you're dating you have a daughter, and also tell the second girl he was dating he told her he had a kid.
Right. It was all very weird and very just very secretive. And look, I don't claim to understand how that sort of thing works. It seems like it would be an awful lot of effort to kind of maintain two girlfriends while having them not be knowledgeable of each other.
I know.
It just seems it's very weird. That's not the sort of lifestyle that I want. It seems like if that is the lifestyle that you do want, meaning you want to have this great relationship but also just sleep with everybody, you should maybe talk about that. You gotta communicate with people, especially if you want to have more unorthodox situations. I was looking through all the screenshots of the conversations and everything, and he was telling both of them that he loved them and all this, very just trying to, it seems like, maintain a normal relationship. And man, what a weird way to be.
It's just the stress of having to juggle two women at a time. I can't imagine that. Not to mention the moral and ethical problems.
Well, but you have those moral and ethical problems and would feel the stress because you live your life a certain way and you just believe certain things, and you just have your own set of things about you, so I don't know if he necessarily has those things. Potentially that could just be what's normal to you, but yeah, that is the maybe out of all the weirdness, it is weird that one of them knew that he had a kid and the other did not.
It's just strange, just real weird behavior.
It's also weird to me because it seemed like it seemed like the one girl who didn't know that he had a kid, she seemed to kind of be his main girlfriend. Just based on
length of time.
Based on length of time and stuff like that, versus the other woman didn't see him super regularly, I guess. But the one who was sort of his main girlfriend didn't know about the kid, and despite sort of being in this big relationship with him, had only been only stayed over at his house once.
Yes, that was also strange.
Which is strange. I don't know. It seemed like she kind of ignored red flags there. The dude had joint custody and had the kid 3 days a week. How do you?
I don't know how that never came up.
How do you keep that on the DL? I don't know. Are there any other details that we didn't discuss about that?
I think that's mostly it. If you want the full stuff, you can just go to his website and see everything.
But man, oh man, yeah. Hopefully this doesn't become the defining thing of this season, because that would be a bit of a dumpster fire. The other thing I wanted to touch on here, Christy, before we get into this just fascinating episode, is I also became aware of some things. Now, this isn't 100% confirmed. I didn't track down the people. I didn't do interviews. I don't have the budget for that. But the allegation is that in order to film this season of The Bachelorette, ABC paid Virgin Cruise Line to charter their ship, which resulted in likely thousands of people having their cruise and vacation canceled with, I believe it was 12 days notice. They just chopped away the whole thing and just sent out an email that was like, hey, so yeah, you're canceled. And just took the cruise ship and ran, because that is something that I was interested by, because I just assumed that they decided to rent out the nicest areas of the ship and film there as it was kind of going along its itinerary. But no, they apparently rented the entire thing, chartered the whole thing, and destroyed the lives of thousands of normal people.
I think that's true. This wouldn't be the first time they did that. I think they did that with like the Nemacolin with Matt James season, and possibly the La Quinta resort for Claire and Tayshia's season. It's usually pretty abrupt, seems like, when they get these locations. It's like, well, we're shooting here. Goodbye, everyone else.
Yeah, goodbye, normal people. We have a season of The Bachelor to film, but man, I would be enraged if that happened to me. I would be peak angry. I would be so upset. I mean, these are. I'm sure most of these people are just pretty normal for the most part. Like, you really think they're going to be able to reschedule something out? You're talking about flights and other transportation. You're talking about PTO, getting away from jobs and other family commitments. Like, they
screwed those people over real bad.
They did. Apparently, they're being compensated a bit over what the cruise
Well, they
cost,
should.
but still
not only should you refund the cruise, but refund all travel costs and any other incidentals that came with that.
Yeah, just what a fun thing. ABC's like a freaking bulldozer. We decided to do it on a cruise ship. Hey, they have a cruise ship. I guess the last thing I will say about that is hopefully ABC got a break in the charter rate, because they have really given that ship some prime time, especially coming out of well, I say out of we'll see if it's out of, but from the pandemic times and cruise lines taking such a huge hit, that was very good for Virgin. I'm sure Virgin got or will get, unless of course this story comes more to light, but I'm sure they'll get a decent Bachelor bump.
Probably.
Which is just kind of crazy to me. I was seeing that they put our two Bachelorettes in the nicest rooms on the ship, the two nicest rooms, and each of them is like over 2,000 square feet. Like
that's the size
suite
of a house.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So,
not that the average Bachelor audience member can afford that.
No. They, of course, they don't expect us to afford that. They expect us to get a more regularly priced cabin, and the thing that us normal folks can afford. But yeah, what a fun set of Bachelor Nation news this week. Wow. Let's get going on this episode. We're now in Belgium, because that's what ships do. They sail They go on the water to different places. And so now that different place is Belgium. Christy, talk to me. Tell me how this starts.
Well, we learn Rachel's group date participants will be Tino, Zach, Meatball, Ethan, Tyler, and Logan. But Logan is not feeling it, as we learned last week.
No, he's I feel like he's been waffling between villain and not villain. It's like he can't really decide if he wants to be a villain, because he did say some things that were kind of a little on the harsh side, or just like in his ITMs and stuff about like, oh, he didn't care, like he had to do what he had to do to get the rose and all of this, because he's now gotten 2 roses from Rachel,
I believe so, yeah.
which is that's a pretty big boost in terms of longevity on the show. And so he's struggling real hard with this, because guys, I will never cease to just laugh at this. But like, come on, you had like a 5-minute conversation with Gabby. You're trying to get me to believe that your heart was just so affected by that you have to switch sides.
I guess he just really didn't like Rachel.
I mean, that seems like the logical takeaway.
But yes, he goes and talks to Rachel and said he felt honored when she put a rose on him. But then something's been holding me back. Strong connection with Gabby. Thought I was going to get a rose from Gabby. Oof. And so he needs to step away from pursuing things with her. Like, Rachel is like, understandably like, well, I wish you had told me earlier, because I gave you 2 roses and you like accepted them as if you wanted them.
Yeah, and you screwed over two other guys.
Yeah, who could have been there.
And who wanted to be there. They felt for her. They felt those feelings that the people on the show feel, which is something akin to love, but in my opinion, not love.
So I understood where she was coming from there. However, then we took a turn.
We seem to always take a turn with Rachel.
And we went back to last week's woe is me, I don't want to do this anymore, everyone is rejecting me. Which I just don't completely understand that perspective, because if you want to actually get down to the end, you need to eliminate people, or people need to leave on their own. So this should be helpful in getting you towards your final goal of your one true love, or whatever.
Right, if that is the goal. And look, we've always had the odd self-elimination here and there.
Yeah.
Like that happens. I mean, what I told you last night, and I stand by this, but it just feels to me like Gabby is playing the game of the Bachelorette, and Rachel is getting played by the game. That just, it seems like she's just not, she's struggling. She's struggling real hard, and I don't think that she has to. I think that she does.
No, some of this is self-inflicted.
She does this to herself.
I mean, we know she's highly emotional from Clayton's season, but I guess I didn't realize that was going to carry over when she's in control, or in theory in control, I guess.
Right. I just think that, like, being a more sensitive or like a more emotional person, like that doesn't automatically equate in my mind to what has been going on with her. Like, I think that you could be a highly emotional person and take a way different path here.
Yeah, it just seems like everything affects her to the max.
Yeah, everything is like throwing her off of a cliff. I mean, they even had to bring in Jesse. You know how they hate to bring in Jesse? It's the last resort. They have to bring him in to talk her down, to get her to stay. And I mean, even that doesn't work, because she's like, well, I'm just gonna cancel the day portion of the group date. It's like, what is wrong with you?
And I didn't understand that either. Unless, like, by the time they finished shooting all the stuff with Logan and Jesse, it was already past the time when they could have had it. Like, I don't know the timing of, like, what time stuff happened, but yeah, otherwise it didn't make any sense to just, like, well, one guy left, so therefore I can't spend time with the guys I actually do like.
Yeah, if this really is on her, that just, it makes no sense to me whatsoever. Again, kind of going back to getting played by the game. Like, the whole point is to get rid of people. You should be thanking your lucky stars that you don't have to agonize over one more person. It's like, oh, he doesn't like me. Great. Now I can focus my energy on people who give a crap.
Yeah. Yeah, I would be curious to know if this was actually her decision, or was this a producer decision that she then had to take the brunt of.
Gotta ask Reality Steve.
I don't know if he knows or not, but yeah, I would like to know.
Yeah, I just we will never know this, of course, but it does kind of fit the pattern of constantly canceling stuff that has happened over previous episodes of, oh, this happens, I'm gonna cancel it.
Yeah, this happens every season though. There's always an inexplicably canceled date.
But there have been like 4 now. We've had the cocktail portion of the rose ceremony canceled like 3 times. How does that help anything? How does that serve any sort of purpose besides just wallowing in self-pity? Like, this is, I'm starting to get a little emotional here, because I don't think Rachel is here for the right reasons. It had to be said. All right, I don't think she's here for the right reasons, based on what keeps happening. So there you go.
Well, at this point, Logan goes and talks to Gabby.
Yeah, he's got to make his case so he doesn't get thrown off the boat.
So she tells him he was their only overlap, as in the only person both of them liked. And so she needs to ask Rachel first. She doesn't want to let a guy get in between them.
Oh, the BFFs.
And so Rachel tells her she should pursue him if she wants. Don't let that hold her back.
Except she really doesn't want her to.
No. You could tell.
And she says as much. She's like, I really hope she sends him home.
Yeah, because she still thinks Logan is not trustworthy.
Right, which, look, is he? Doubtful. I don't think that he is. I think that swarmy little face of his, he wants to get that in front of as many wine moms as possible, up that count for as many weeks as possible. So no, I don't trust him. But that doesn't keep me from also not trusting Rachel's judgment.
Yeah, both things can be true.
Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, we all knew that Logan was gonna. I mean, they even, again, what's with the promos lately? But I mean, they even showed that he made it over to her.
Yeah, there's no suspense at all.
There's no suspense whatsoever. But I feel like most people could have guessed that, because drama. Haha. Oh man, I don't think that Rachel's guys were particularly happy about this.
No. Well, they had got all dressed up, went into the city, and producers just had them standing there for a date that was never going to happen. Mm-hmm. So then at the after party, Rachel apologizes, talks about constantly being rejected.
Wait, dear Lord.
Come
on,
too
Rachel.
Much.
Rachel, you have... What more could you want? You have several way hotter than average jack dudes who would kill everyone else there to go to the end with you and be engaged for followers with you. Like, what are you doing? I like that Tino, like he felt like he had to have that big boy feelings conversation with her. He had to be like, look, I just don't know what's happening here, and I just felt really upset by what happened.
I felt unseen.
Yeah, I felt unseen.
It hurt today.
Ooh.
That's such a great word to use with Rachel after her saying it last week with the other men. So he flipped it around. You know, only a front runner can get away with basically scolding the lead for how they acted that day and not get sent home. It's very bold of him.
But look, she was into that.
Yeah. She gave him the group date rose.
Yeah. I keep piling on Rachel here, and I'm sorry. And this is maybe the last I'll say about it for this episode. But her emotional headspace does not seem like a healthy place at all. It just seems like she's kind of addicted to this roller coaster of emotions where she sort of throws herself off of an emotional cliff based on what's happened to her, what she's perceived to have happened. And so she throws herself off the emotional cliff so that then, because we all know there are a bunch of guys here who are just so hungry to make it to the end. So there's no real risk here. So she throws herself off the emotional cliff, and it's like this damaged bird. And of course all the guys are like, oh my goodness, like, are you okay? Like, don't you worry. I'm here for you, babe. Like, let's scream our emotions out. Let's do this. Let's do that. Like, man, I'll be your rock. All this stuff.
It was the same pattern last week with
absolutely.
That weird group date.
Yes. And so it's just like this, it's this weird, like, oh, I need this affirmation, or I need this, like, attention. And so I'm just going to make everything seem like it's horrible so that I get that. And is that an uncharitable reading of the situation? Yes, but that's my hot take. She's an emotional addict. That's what it is. And these guys are just enabling her. Oof.
Yeah, they're feeding right into it.
Ooh, yes they are. Yeah. Well, let's move on to our other lead.
Yeah, Gabby's group date, which is a do random activities in the city date. First they get waffles, then whipped cream.
That is not sanitary, okay?
Did her mouth actually touch the nozzle?
I bet it did. And
she got her head underneath it and let the whipped cream fall into her mouth. There was so much of it.
Yeah, it was essentially like a soft serve ice cream thing, but it was whipped cream because it was a waffle vendor. And she just puts her head, or like her mouth, right there, and it's just right underneath it, upside down, like, give me this right from the tap. And she wasn't the only one who did it either.
No, somebody else did too.
That's a business that the public goes to. Why? I'm never going to that city in Belgium, just in case. I don't want to be like, oh, you know what? I'm really feeling a waffle right now, and I go to a place and I'm like, oh crap, I've seen this on TV. I bet they haven't washed those nozzles since Gabby got her mouth all over.
Or other people are now doing it. Ugh.
And I mean, that wasn't even the weirdest thing that happened on this date.
No, then they went and played soccer with some random kids.
Right, which as you said, like this was just like random assortment day. It's like they just like had all these random ideas on slips of paper and a hat, and they were like, okay, we need 4 things. Soccer with Belgian kids? Because it was it was almost like a blink and you miss it type of thing. It was very...
Yeah, it was like 10 seconds long.
It was so short.
And then they played rock, paper, scissors with the loser getting slapped with a fish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was also pretty weird.
Yeah, that was better. It was funnier than the other stuff, but...
Yeah, they really got into that fish slapping.
And then that's literally all we saw for the date portion. We had very truncated dates this week. Probably because they had to fit 4 of them in as opposed to the usual 3.
Right. I mean, we didn't even get any cocktail party footage for Rachel either. It was just a cocktail party on Gabby's side of things later. Yeah, this has been a continuing problem for this season. There just isn't enough time, and there isn't enough crew. See, because that's the other thing. You know what? And I was kind of alluding to this last night, but that's probably what happened. They've been doing this annoying thing with the rose ceremonies this season, where they have recording set up sort of in an associated room of the rose ceremony, and they're filming there the reactions of the guys who are getting their roses and going in and joining the group, which they don't normally do on Bachelor franchise shows. And so that crew was probably supposed to be over taking footage of Rachel's cocktail party. And they were getting set up to record the men after the rose ceremony, and so they forgot and didn't have time to get over there.
Yeah, it's kind of a mess, isn't it?
Yeah, complete.
So instead
complete
of
mess.
like continuing to explore the city, which I'm sure has a lot of cool sights, the after party for a group date is back on the boat.
Well, yeah, I mean, come on, we gotta get enough boat footage. Look, they paid good money to charter that. They paid good money to displace thousands of people.
So at this point, Logan walks in, says, "How's everybody?" and he gets the death stare.
Oh no, they wanted him dead.
And then Gabby walks in wearing, I don't even know if I'd really call this a dress.
What would you call it?
It looked more like lingerie.
This isn't the first. Well, actually, sorry. This is the first on this episode. is the first thing that she wears that looks like lingerie.
Yeah, I mean the dress barely covered her butt.
Mm-hmm. But we don't talk about that. This is a family-friendly show, Christy. Okay, there are no butts on this show. No butts. Actually, that's not true. We've talked about butts on this show before. Usually in conjunction with a yet another hot tub scene. That happens. Those guys were not happy that Logan showed up, and you even had a little bit of a Tino moment on this side of things with Nate, in terms of he probably didn't go as far, but he still was kind of scolding her a little bit. I feel like,
yeah,
just like, what are you doing? Like, I thought you liked the guys that were here.
Yeah.
Like, we're so great. I mean, I'm married to 3 people right now, but I'm great too. No, I'm sure he did. I'm sure he didn't. Sure he didn't bring up that little tidbit.
No, I was 2-timing 2 girls a year ago.
No, that's the sort of thing we don't talk about here. Okay. No.
But he ended up getting a group date rose, which is funny now in retrospect.
Of course. Look, I always just crack up how like convinced every guy is that he's gonna be the one to get the group rose, and then how upset they all are. Like, oh, what? I can't believe it. What? I was gonna get the group rose. We had such a great connection. Like, you just, like, the camera pans around and all the guys like, what? This is inconceivable. How did this happen? Oh, that always cracks me up. I was relieved that Nate got the group date rose instead of Logan, but now not so much.
Well, things have changed in the last 12 hours.
We have received new information. Oh boy.
So next we see Rachel's one-on-one with Aven, and I mean, I didn't get much at all from this date.
No,
it was so short. I mean, they had a horse-drawn carriage. They went and got some chocolate. That was pretty much it for the day portion.
Yeah, it was pretty much chocolate shop and making out.
Yeah. I mean, at dinner we learned his parents weren't together very often. Mm-hmm. Barely saw his mom.
Stability is important to him because his childhood was not stable. We've never heard that before. Never.
And then he gave her this bracelet from his mom to help her through hard days, I guess, and he got the rose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's gonna be awkward when he's like, hey, so I know you just sent me home, but, like, can I have my mom's bracelet back?
And then we had the typical fireworks as well.
I know. Oh, it was so romantic.
They just want that money shot.
Oh. Yeah, it's just always so romantic to see those colorful explosions in the sky. We didn't get any, and it may have been just too far away. We didn't get any shots of guys longingly looking off the deck of the boat, being like, "Oh no, oh what? I bet they're kissing right now." Nope, none of that. We don't have time for that, okay? We gotta keep moving here. We have very little time and 2 bachelorettes.
Yes, not next.
Yes, this day was this following day was way more disturbing.
Yes, with Johnny and Gabby.
Talk to me about Johnny, because he is always wearing a turtleneck.
Oh, really? I didn't notice.
A lot of the time he's wearing a turtleneck.
Well, it is chilly out there.
But a turtleneck?
I don't know.
That's still a fashion thing?
Apparently so. I don't know. There have been other guys in The Bachelorette who wore turtlenecks recently.
He just reminds me of the teenage Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson with the turtleneck. And then I think he's worn a necklace a couple times with it too. It's just like, I don't know. I may be referencing things you have no conception of. But
no, I didn't know.
There's a well-known picture of him standing there awkwardly.
I have seen that.
Yeah.
Isn't it like a black turtleneck?
I don't remember. I just whenever I see someone wearing a turtleneck in the modern day, that's what I think of. Turtlenecks are so, like, 5 decades ago. But he tries his best to pull it off, and I mean, he looks respectable enough, but I guess I won't be too mean to him, because let's be honest, this date is way weirder than he is. Yeah,
they went to a brewery.
Mm-hmm.
Tasted some beer.
I gotta get those beer flights. Tasty.
And then they got in a beer bath.
It got weird. It got real weird. They, like, went to this shady back room. And there's just this standalone bathtub full of beer, really PTSD inducing, thinking back to the freaking butter bath from Michelle's season. Which is worse? Which is worse?
They rubbed butter all over themselves. I don't remember what.
Yeah, I think it was I think it was technically a milk bath, but then they did also rub butter on themselves.
Yeah, both of those were nasty to me. This might have been better only because of it being beer, but the color, like you're just sitting in this like poop colored water.
If you have an accident in the tub, nobody will notice. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I guess it was super weird, but the adjacent activities weren't as weird as before, because like they had some bundles of hops that they hit each other with, and I mean it was all weird. Look, I'm not gonna sugarcoat this, but it was less weird than the Amish paradise rub each other with sticks of butter thing. Yeah, they like kind of gave each other back massages a little bit with, I'm not sure what that substance was that they were using.
Some kind of clay maybe.
But it wasn't butter, and that is all that matters. Yeah. What is with them doing this? Like these sorts of things?
They have run out of ideas.
Do people like, does the public want this?
I don't think so. I feel like every time I see this on screen, people are complaining about how gross it is.
Yeah, I mean, he even drank some out of it as they were sitting in it.
Oh, that's so gross.
You don't want a little beer marinade there?
No, that's like
after it's been marinating.
No, you don't drink bath water, people.
Excuse me. It's not bath water. It's bath beer. And it's a perfect arrangement for a raging alcoholic.
Oh man.
Yeah, this it was really, really super strange.
Yeah,
but here we are. We're talking about it. So it obviously worked.
I guess so.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't get much from the nighttime portion. It was really short. He got the rose.
Yeah, I mean, she did think that he was funnier than she originally thought. Probably because she looked at this dude wearing a freaking turtleneck and was like, he doesn't seem very funny because of the turtleneck. No, I don't know if it's because I'm just being mean about the turtleneck, but yeah, apparently this date really just opened her eyes to him. I mean, he did, of course, get vulnerable about basic things, and she appreciated that. So, yeah, she gave him the rose. I mean, as you do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we still don't really know much about him.
No, we know nothing about him whatsoever.
Yeah, so time for the cocktail party.
Well, you gotta mention that they ended their date dancing in the dark outside in the square of this city in Belgium. It was so romantic, and there was kissing, and it just warmed my heart.
Oh, that's good.
Christy is looking at me right now like she doesn't believe me. That she doesn't believe me that my heart was warmed. All the cockles of my heart warmed.
I'm suspicious.
Unbelievable. Well, I guess let's end this episode, shall we?
Yeah, I mean, Logan apologized for causing Rachel to cancel the group date. I don't think that apology went over very well, but he tried.
Yeah.
And then we see Gabby giving Nate chocolate for his daughter.
He has a daughter? Sorry, that was a throwback. Throwback to the scandal.
So, yeah, that's pretty much all. We didn't see anything from Rachel, like you mentioned before. And so Rachel gave her roses to Zach, Tyler, and Ethan.
Well, should we... You didn't want to talk about how Logan tried to get in the good graces? No?
How so?
Well, of Gabby. Because he was like, look, I know that I missed the date because I was over on the dark side, but I brought some fish. We could slap each other.
Oh, yeah, they did. They did play that game real quick.
And she was like, you better let me win, because I ain't about to get slapped by a fish before the rose ceremony. Look, I think that worked for him.
She gave him a rose along with Jason, Eric, and Spencer.
Yeah. So that means that they both have six guys? So yeah, we're getting down to it. 'Cause do we have one more episode before hometowns then?
Yes, looks like next week.
Yeah, jeez. Wow, is that exciting or what? We are about to find out once and for all who these people's persons are. That they definitely will, for sure, get engaged to and then marry and then live forever with.
Totally.
Forever for at least 2 months. 6 months max. Yeah, do you, I mean, this is pretty small crowds at this point. I was a little worried for Spencer just because he doesn't seem to really been getting much screen time lately, even though at one point it seemed like Gabby liked him a lot. But he managed to survive.
I mean, he's probably going home next week.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, and were you as devastated as I was? The deepest cut, the most painful thing of all, that we had to say goodbye to Meatball.
I mean, he was never my favorite.
Oh my goodness, Christy doesn't care about Meatball. Oh man, you're gonna get canceled for that. He's so beautiful, the beautiful Italian boy.
He just has always been portrayed as like the joke character.
Right, he really dealt a terrible hand by the producers, and he also was snitching, which never ends well.
No,
it was only a matter of time. But I don't know. You're supposed to keep track of all these things. Does he have a good social media following? Does he?
Nobody this season really has big numbers.
Really?
So if
he doesn't have like a group of super fans called like the Meat Gals or something.
I doubt that. No.
Oh well. Well, yeah, this is shaping up to be quite the bloody ending.
Yep, they'll probably lose 2 more next week each.
Yep. R.I.P. Meatball. Sorry, guys. It was never in the cards for him to survive any longer. Well, I feel like there isn't much more to talk about here. They're taking their chartered ship and heading to the land of windmills, Amsterdam. I'm excited to get rid of more guys. It's my favorite part of the show, the eliminations. Yeah, that's just the kind of person I am. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, they're really leaning into showing promos with just a complete train wreck and like blubbering and tears from all sides. That's what they really want to do here. So
yeah, they usually do that at this point of the season, get you excited for the end.
That is very true.
How many kisses did we have?
Oh, we had so many kisses. We had 27.
Wow.
Yep. All sorts. All around. Yeah, how can people get in contact with us, Christy?
You can email us at groupdatespod@gmail.com or follow us on Instagram and Twitter at groupdatespodcast.
And leave us those 5 stars, everybody. let's get this going. I'm sure that we have changed your life in such a hugely profound way with our hot takes. So, yeah, we are out there for the entire world to find us. And if you're listening, Nate, you should be ashamed of yourself. And don't you dare hurt Gabby. She's the only person on this whole show I care about. So, stop it.